Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshua, Bashem, Makakodah, Shalom to 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video, Because of the Lack of Bread, and that's from 2nd Ezra 15, verse 19. I'm going to read the 19th verse, and then I'm going to give you the next verse in the same chapter. I think that's like 57 verse. Matter of fact, '58 verse. So it says, a man shall have. Oh, the title of this video is Because of the Lack of Bread, Edomites dumpster diving. Edomites dumpster diving. Here it is right here. This is put up by Epic Economist. I don't want to play it, but I subscribe to Epic Economist. Americans are dumpster diving to get thousands of dollars worth of products for free. Now, what supermarkets do, if it's about ready to expire, I mean, you can eat it past expiration date, and they just dump it out in boxes. The food is still good if you don't let it stay there overnight. As soon as they throw it out, you come get it. I mean, you can turn around and resell it, and then you can eat. But how many people you know that got money, that's making good money, is going to dumpster dive? And these are Edomites that are dumpster diving. So you can watch this video. There was another video. I don't know if this was the same video that I saw yesterday. Okay, this was new, but maybe there was another page that put up the same, because I remember this. I guess it's from TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. And there's a couple of different. Okay, let me see. Okay, there they go. See, you got fruit there. You can see that the fruit is good if you catch it early enough. Wash it off. Look at that. I found over 1,500 worth of stuff in the dumpster. This guy is AI. See? You can dumpster dive and turn around and sell it to people. Steakums. You know, right when they go, when the expiration date goes, they throw them out. Look at that. You got candy bars. Give me a second here. So I'm not saying they're going to do this. Oh, they're doing it now. The fruit is still good. You just got to wash it off. Let me give you the scriptures to go with
Hi, I'm Andy Levian, General Counsel at the DNC. We just sued President Trump and Doge, and I hope...
See, they're going all in there. Yeah, I saw these yesterday, or the day before. This is what you call dumpster diving. See them ladies, so potato chips and things, they're good. So they nice. You can turn around and sell it. But Edomites that got decent jobs back in the day, ain't nobody gonna dumpster dive. If you like today, let's say your bring home is your 1,500, 2,000 a week, 2,000. That's what 8,000 a month. You doing good. You don't have to do this. There's people not bringing home enough money to pay the rent, pay the electric, pay the water bill, whatever the case. Especially if you own a house. Owning a house is really, you finding out, it's a burden, because how you gonna get out of that house if you can't sell it? Then if it's paid off, your grandmama paid it off, and you still got to pay property tax. You back on the tax. They take that house, even though the house is paid for. They can take that house. So anyway, this guy that's doing this, either they doing it to go on TikTok, or they doing it because they don't make enough money. They make money, but they need extra money for food, but they ain't got enough, so they dumpster dive. Let me see. Let me come back over here. I didn't set up anything. I didn't set up no precepts. I'm just going by the Spirit. So it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. There's going to be a point where a lot more of these supermarkets are going to close down and there's not going to be food available. So the smart people, they prep. They'll get enough food to last them for 6 months. They'll get non-perishable food that might last them a year. Now, there was a couple of scenes in the movie The Road. You had the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. You had The Road. The Road was the Book of Eli had kind of like comedy in it, a little bit of comic relief. The Road there was no comedy. There was no comic relief. It was just straight up like a documentary. And there was a scene where the guy played by Vito, what's his name? Victor, I forget the hell his name. Victor Mortensen. And he looked like an Edomite, but he could be a Jake. So he's in the movie with his son. The kid played his son. And they went into an abandoned house and there was all kind of food in there, all fresh food. But they couldn't stay there. They stayed there for like a day, I believe. They slept, they showered, they ate good. Then had to keep moving because you had these marauders coming. And then what they did in that movie, if you haven't seen that movie, you got to see that movie. I don't know where my copy is, but you got to see that movie. I remember when they had a trailer for the movie. This was back in 2007, 2008. And I didn't get a chance to see the movie, but when it came out on DVD, I got the DVD. And I saw it, then I saw the DVD with the commentary, the director's commentary, and he goes into actual events that he got the ideas from. He said, this happened in Australia, and this happened in this. So we're coming to that time. Now let me read the next scripture. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses, break into their houses with the sword. This modern day sword is a gun, and spoil their goods, take what they got. Because some people prep and some people are not going to prep. So it's one thing to prep and hoard, but it's another thing to have, protection. You might have to teach your whole family how to use long guns. And you might have to hold watch for the rest of the family to sleep and others to stay up and watch. And if somebody comes, you do what you got to do. And they're coming with stuff. So that's what we're coming to. You see the situation where ICE killed the second person, and it was clearly not justified. It was clearly not justified. And people are beginning to wake up to the so-called government. These MAGA people, they're saying this guy ain't about shit, because this guy is building a gold palace down in D.C. A couple of months ago, he had a Great Gatsby. It's a movie about living a decadent lifestyle, and they had all these people dressed up real nice. There was cocktails and champagne and all that, and they showed it on TV, and you got people struggling to eat. So this guy really used y'all, and you still following you dumb MAGA people are still following this guy. He ain't never invited you to the White House. When he has meetings with the super rich and the elite. He does them favors and the small hats, and he gives money away to other countries. He gave 40 billion with a B to the president of Argentina. He still gives money. Every so-called president gives money, during his administration, gives money to Israel. There's a Republican or Democrat. They all for Israel. So that shows you that this is all bullshit. And it's like, WWE. It's going to get worse out here, man. It's going to get worse out here. There'll be another shooting. They're going to shoot another. These guys are like madmen, like the scriptures say. The chapter over, 2 Ezra 16. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. He's going after the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom fears the Lord. That represents Israel, whether they know that they're Israelite or not. So we're going to have to be protected. Let me come down here. You really got to read this whole chapter, right? Okay, so it says here, these are for these preppers. These preppers, normally they'll prep for 6 months or 3 months or whatever. To 6 months, we're good. You're going to be there for a year, and you're going to run out of food. And then you're going to commence to committing to the act of cannibalism. And that happened one time in the history before the slaves came over here. There were Edomites eating other Edomites because of the lack of bread. It says, I don't want to read too much into it. The 57th verse, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And at this time, you're going to have the 7 women shall take hold of one man because of protection. And to have a name and to really get pregnant. But to have a name. And that's not talking about the kingdom. It's going to continue in the kingdom. We're going to get many thousands of women. But on this side, you're going to get a handful of women that's going to listen to you because you're going to be armed. But we, the elect, if we are the elect, we shall be protected. I'm going to read that in Isaiah 65, but I'm going to read it in a couple of different versions. So let me go ahead and read this. This is the 57th verse, 2nd Ezra 15 and 57. And like I said in the previous video that I did today, I believe this is my 4th video, that the scoffers, remember years ago, scoffers used to come on and talk shit? There ain't no more scoffers no more. I kind of miss the scoffers. Scoff me a little bit. They don't scoff because everything that we said 10 years ago, 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for almost 20 years. Actually, it's 19 years. 19 years we've been on YouTube. Can you imagine that? Been on YouTube for 19 years. Back 15, 14, 13, 15, 16 years ago, used to be them scoffers, man. This you bullshit. This ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. Everything that we've been saying, including the mark of the beast, is happening right now. So they're saying, oh, shit. These dudes are always right. And we're going to be right, 100% right, when the mark comes. And you're going to see it. And you're going to have to explain to your congregation what they have to do, whether they take it or not. Because y'all failed the first test with the jump shot. You 2 major camps, I'm not going to mention no names. You two camps, major camps, you told your people to go ahead and take it. And that you should take it and you must take it. That's when I'm going to leave. I'm out of here. So what's going to happen when the MOTB comes? What are you going to tell your people? Or are you going to tell them the truth? It says here, 57 verse. See, this is what we do. We don't march down the street. We don't give people food to eat. We're not a charity. All we do is we do these videos, these sit-downs. Sometimes brothers get together, they do the live. We do the lives, we do the premieres. We go out on the highways and the byways on the weekends. Sometimes brothers like in Dallas, they go out on Tuesdays and Fridays. We go out on the Saturdays. If it's cold, like the last month and a half, we done missed 2 weeks back to back a couple of weeks ago because it was kind of cold. And then we missed this past Saturday because it was, a snowstorm was coming. It was kind of cold that day, but it didn't start snowing until like later that night. So hopefully we'll go out. If we don't, we can do the sit downs or whatever. But eventually we'll be back out there. So we're doing it, and that's what we do. This is what we do. We go out on the highways and the byways, and we teach the scriptures. Then when you're separate at home, you're doing these sit downs. I might watch a lot of times I'll watch a video and I'll get inspired of an elder or whatever to build on that video. Or I might even play that video and put stop it, throw a scripture in there that he might have not hit. Or I might have hit a scripture, then he brings the scripture out. So let's go ahead and read this. So we're definitely in a time of Jacob's trouble, and it's going to escalate. Look that word up. It's going to get worse. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword, to other people. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. A lot of people are going to get blown away. Now, when you watch the news, when this guy got killed, the nurse, the VA nurse, when he got killed, they'll stop it before the shot. That's when he got shot. Now they're showing him getting shot. Now, you know how many times this guy got shot? 11 times. I thought it was 5. It was 11 times. What happened was they jumped him. They threw him to the ground. One of them pulled out his whatever his 9, whatever it was, which he was registered with, which he didn't have it. He didn't have the gun branded. And you got Fox News saying, "Oh no, he did this, he did that, he shouldn't have did this, he shouldn't have did that." But then they're showing videos of these guys saying the importance of the Second Amendment. Oh, the Second Amendment only applies to certain people. He had it in his he had the permits, all the papers. One guy said, "Oh yeah, he had the right to carry it, but he was supposed to carry them papers with him, and since he didn't have the papers with him, the license, he's not." Come on, man. It said freedom to bear arms. You don't need a license to bear arms. Why would you say it's a freedom? Then you got to get a license for it. So this devil has shown one thing. He's shown that he's a fucking actor and a damn hypocrite, man, and that he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. And any of you niggas thinking you're gonna vote for somebody and get it and life becomes better for you, you got to be crazy. You niggas gathered up to put Obama in. Obama didn't do a motherfucking thing for you, man. He didn't do a motherfucker. What the fuck did he do for you? Anytime he's on the show and he waves, they clap. What the fuck you clapping for? He didn't make your fucking life better. And I told that guys on the job. He's got, yeah. I said, man, that dude ain't gonna do shit. And these motherfuckers didn't want to talk to me. And then after he became president, about a year in, I said, what you got to say about him now? They ain't have nothing to say. You know? I said, thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. People are going to raid your houses. They're doing it right now. Out in South Africa, you got them Edomites that are living good. They got long rifles right at where they sleep at. And they'll get up in the night. If somebody busts in the house, they busting shots at them. So it's going to be like that over here. And it's already like that, but it's going to be worse. And you women, they're going to grab you women up. And then they're going to sell. You're going to have guys that's going to take beautiful women and they're going to sell them on the black market. See, you can buy anything on the black market. Guy selling something. I want this. Give me this woman. Give me a Chinese chick. You know, that's about 13 years old, fully developed and shit, pretty. Oh, how much? Oh, you give me $500. You know, you give me something silver. And then you take that, and that's part of the barter system, applies to everything. Slavery. They're going to trade slaves. Right? Anyway, it says, thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. The field is America, Matthew 13. The field is the world. Is the world, right? They that be in the mountains, you preppers, shall die of hunger because you're going to run out of supplies. And eat their own flesh, meaning if your wife die, you're going to eat her. If your child die, you're going to eat that child. Eat that baby, boy baby or girl baby. If the husband die, you're going to eat him. And drink their blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. And thirst of water. So let me come back up here. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, the gun, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. The great tribulation is the time of Jacob's trouble. Let me go ahead and read the 20th verse. Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, fear me, which are from the rising of the sun, which is the east, from the south, and from the east, and Libanos, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Now, all these major nations that have missiles, they're going to, as we know, they're going to shoot missiles on America. See, Donald is worried about Russia and possibly China and maybe North Korea, but then they're not thinking about the NATO nations. And even the EU nations, they're going to shoot missiles as well. So you're going to be shot at from all angles. So let me come over here. What I did was, I just put in the word famine, right? Now you go back in history, Genesis 12 and 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. What made Egypt great? The 7 years of plenty, followed by the 7 years of famine. So you got 1 year you're doing good. The second year you're doing good. Third year, you think you're going to just stay doing good. And then every once in a while you have a bad year. That's why they store stuff in what do you call it? Storehouses. That's what the storehouse is all about, in case you have a bad year. So you figure, well, we had 7 good years. Okay, we're going to have a bad 8 year. We're going to have a bad year. 9 year, we're going to have a bad year. We good. That 10th year, you ran out of things. So you had to go to Egypt, because they had stored for what? 14 years. And people gave up everything. They became slaves to them. They gave up their gold. They gave up their silver. So that's what the real story of the greatness of Egypt was Joseph, because he was a dream interpreter. He had dreams and he interpreted dreams. There it is again, a famine in the land. Here it is, this actual story. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears are blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. Because there was 7 years of plenty, and it's going to be followed by 7 years of famine. So there was always famines throughout history. So that's why people had the reason why they had storehouses. Okay, 45 and 6. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in which there shall neither be airing nor harvest. I already know what that is, because it actually happened. Let me open that up. That's 45 and 6. Joseph deals kindly with his brothers, because they ran out of food. So they had to go beg the Pharaoh of Egypt. The second in command of Egypt, the leader of Egypt, was actually Joseph. Okay. Right. This is when David counted Israel. Did a census on Israel. You can count the military men, but you can't count the Israelites, because they're not your people. They're the Yahweh's people. So with Esau, if he did nothing but goodness, righteousness, he treated us right, gave us reparations, said he was sorry. He's still going to go down because of the census. He's saying that you my people. The fact that they have a census showing you that they own you. They're counting you. I'm not going to read all of these. Then it speaks to you about cannibalism. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse. You can start the 50th verse. It speaks about the siege in Rome. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me go to that. So now you got Edomites dumpster diving. But it ain't so bad, because what they do, like I guarantee you, they go to the supermarket when that shit is dumped. They take all that, they get a car, they put it in the back, and they go to the hood and they sell it. If the price of the thing is, say, $5, they might sell it for $2. So you making money. That's called a barter system. Jake that be stealing shit, or anybody that steals shit, they bust into a store, steals, let's say it's an auto parts store or whatever, and they'll steal shit. They'll steal, saws and hammers and shovels and, hardware store shit, and they'll throw it out. They throw a carpet out or a rug or something like that, and they'll throw it down and they'll cut the price. The hammer might be $15. They'll say, give me 10. I'll give you 5. Give me 8. Okay, here's 8. So they got the hammer for half price. So the same thing happens with food. People lose it when there's a famine. They get desperate. So we're gonna eat. Everything's in the scriptures, man. And then you're really going to be tested when you got to take that chip to continue to eat. So the word famine is in the scriptures more than almost 100 times. Or is it? It's almost 100 times. Job 5:20, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. So if you're part of the elect, you're going to overcome all that. 22nd verse, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. We're going to be in league with the beasts of the earth. Let me go ahead and open that up. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. Wild beasts is going to be at peace with you. And this is when you're going to have these many women. And you're going to be popping them women too. You're going to be popping them women. If you got 10 women, you're going to be popping them. And they're going to be young. And they're going to get pregnant too. Especially in the kingdom. If you have 1,000 women, every last one of them going to be pregnant. And 9-10 months later, they're all going to have babies. Then you're going to pop them again, and you're going to have, all of them going to be pregnant. Some are going to have twins. So in a couple of years, you might have 2,000 to 10,000 babies. Then them babies are going to grow up, and they're going to have babies. And the kingdom's going to be, that's why it says the sand of the sea and the stars of heaven that can not be measured or counted. We're a vast people. Isaiah 54, I think it's the first verse, it says, lengthen thy cords. Meaning we're going to take things. The earth is going to get back to the earth is shrunken down. It's shrunken down. You get a watermelon, you can pick it up. A cluster of grapes you can pick up with your finger, your index finger and your thumb, right? In the ancient world, it took 2 strong men to carry a cluster of grapes. So those grapes had to be the size of big watermelons. So in our kingdom, man, we're never going to get sick. We're going to be in shape and don't have to exercise. We're going to have spiritual power. The nations are going to bow down to us. Through thy seed shall all the families be blessed. It's talking about the Israelites. Because the only ones that's going to be blessed through Abraham in the kingdom are the Israelites. And the blessing means somebody to bow down to you. Floyd Mayweather's not blessed. Floyd Mayweather got some money, but he's not blessed because ain't nobody kissing his ass. Edomites are not kissing his ass. The super elite, they blessed. The average Edomite that you see, they're not blessed. The super elite are blessed, but they're going to lose all that blessing overnight. They're going to be the first to go into captivity. They're going to be first to get arrested. And we in that time. The time of Jacob's trouble shall quickly turn into the time of Esau's trouble. And they all going into captivity. Let me go over here. Deuteronomy 28. And let me go to 50. I want to look up something in the chat. This is talking about the Romans. And he shall besiege thee in the gates until thy high fence walls come down. Okay, let me do this. Thou shalt eat the flesh. Okay, let me do this here. Let me hit the chat with 52nd and 53rd verse. Do it again. Hit it again. Two 53. Meaning. Okay, what the verse says in plain terms. The brutal siege, enemies surround Israel's cities, cutting off food and help, extreme starvation, conditions becoming so desperate that people resort to cannibalism, even eating their own children, but it's not telling me what time period. Doesn't tell you Rome. Is this about Rome? Just got to gather that information now. Okay, it says short answer, not primarily, but some people see a connection. Historically, Deuteronomy 28, 52, 53 was not originally about Rome. Assyrian siege of Samaria, Babylonian siege of Jerusalem. Then why not Rome? Why not Rome? It says secretly in the siege, it said your high walls are going to come down. Did not the Romans take down your high? Did not they build a wall around your wall? Chat be tripping. But anyway, that's all I'm going to speak on. With that, I'm going to say shalom.